Good day, happy Tuesday, or Wednesday, or Thursday, or Friday, or maybe it's Sunday. I don't know what day you're watching this, but I'm going live on Tuesday, so we'll say it's Tuesday. We're back, Cellar Chats, here in the cellar at the Second Glass for this week's weekly wine flights, and it is the first full week of spring. Well, it's really just the first week of spring, although the weather today maybe doesn't say so much. It's a little chilly. That's all right, it's going to change. And soon we'll all be wishing it was a little bit chillier. So we're going back to the West Coast for some delightful little treats to share this week on the flight. Kicking it off, Lieu, Chenin Blanc. Can't get enough of this wine. Following it up with the ever so brilliant Jolie-Laide with their Trousseau Gris. And another house favorite, and maybe a wine that really just deserves a little more love lately because, I haven't seen it enough. And I like it a lot, and I like the guy behind it. The Cruse Wine Co. Monkey Jacket Red Blend. So let's get into it. Little California spring lovin' here. Lieu, as many of you I'm sure are aware, based in Santa Barbara. I say that you're aware of that because we've done these wines a few times, and if you're new to this, welcome. If you've been on here before, I'm sure you're familiar with Lieu. So, starting out with a little fresh Chenin Blanc. I also like the fact that we're doing some offbeat categories of grapes. We got Chenin, although that's pretty classic, but not as common as maybe Sauvignon Blanc. Trousseau Gris, because, we needed more things in our lives that no one knows. I'm all about it. And then the Monkey Jacket, which is mostly Val de Gris. I know none of you know what that is, and you know what? You don't need to know. What you do need to know is it's delicious. So, Lieu, down in Santa Barbara, they're focused on Loire Valley grape varieties, and Chenin Blanc is definitely one of the great grapes of the Loire Valley. Really pretty color, just easy golden. Oh wow! I've always found this wine to have a lot of kind of like orange blossom, orange marmalade. There's really good texture here, great freshness. It feels, smells, and tastes like spring. So it's a great wine to kick off this first week of spring 2023, which is really weird to say out loud. 2023. Have you really thought that through? We are in 2023. Didn't you think that the world would be doing so many interesting things? I think we're all still waiting on the hoverboard. We're several years late, guys. Where is it at? Anyways. Again, the nose, mineral, crisp, fresh. Like I said, a little honeysuckle orange marmalade. Wow. Springtime in a glass. Beautiful little almost not honeysuckle, but honey texture on the finish. A little roundness to kind of bring in that citrus, lemony, orange blossom characteristic. Really, really lovely. If you kind of close your eyes, give this a good whiff, have a taste, you would feel like you're maybe in a spring meadow right now, having a lovely spread of delicious cheeses and crackers. I think that's what you should order. You should come in, have some cheese and crackers, maybe a few mussels, maybe some oysters, whatever is fresh on the menu, and have some of this to start your flight. Yes, thank you. Lovely, lovely people of Lieu. That's the Chenin Blanc from Santa Barbara. I'm sorry. Specifically from Santa Ynez. They're based in the Santa Barbara. All right, moving on to Jolie-Laide. Yes, we have featured these before. No, the wine labels were not exactly the same because these guys have some of the best and most interesting wine labels in the game. I hate to harp on that because it's what we always talk about, but they also happen to be stand-up humans, and I personally think that Scott Schultz, who's one half of Jolie-Laide, there's Scott and Jenny, husband and wife. I think Scott is one of the finest winemakers in California. Hands down, come at me. Go ahead and argue it. I think he is super talented. Everything he touches is delicious. So, again, this is their Trousseau Gris. What is Trousseau Gris? It's basically a grape. That's it. It's a grape. Found mostly, I believe, if I remember correctly, historically in the Jura. But it made its way to California, just like everything else. Kind of an obscure grape variety. You know, it's known for making more textured. It has fairly thick skin, so oftentimes it's left on the skins to make like a little skin contact. I wouldn't necessarily put this all the way into the orange category, so don't be afraid. It's not going to be super bitter. You're not going to be like tasting like dried leaves and cinnamon and spice, but it has some mouthfeel and texture, and it's got this absolutely beautiful kind of like slightly copper. You know, Trousseau Gris, stylistically, I think of it as like, very similar to Pinot Grigio or Pinot Gris as like a grape. It has like pink hued skins, which is what Gris stands for, or basically that's what it's referenced to. Which is why you find a lot of Pinot Gris, particularly from Friuli, northern Italy, that is done on the skins or Ramato style, so it has like this coppery orange color. Trousseau Gris falls within that kind of same family of grapes that has this kind of grayish, pinkish hue to the skins. But what I find that Trousseau Gris stands out with compared to Pinot Gris is it tends to be a little bit more viscous, a little more textured, a little heavier. Pinot Gris, Pinot Grigio tends to be a little bit more mineral driven. Not that these wines aren't minerally, but there's just like a weightiness, and I want to say oiliness, but I don't want that to be taken the wrong way. There is a viscosity to the wine that I find really delightful. There it is, twice I've said it. I've not used that one in a while, so if Kristen is out there watching this, she will really relish the fact that I'm saying the word delightful again. On the nose, there's a little like pink white raspberry fruit. Kind of a soft, like herbaceous. Again, there is some like lively, fresh citrus mineral characteristics. Oh, yeah. Lots of really beautiful, like kind of peony, white and like pink floral aromas going on. It's almost there's almost a touch of like rose petal on the palate with this like little bit of richness, good texture. It's so pretty. It's been a minute since I've had this wine, so I'm kind of really enjoying this. I've always liked this wine, like I said, but it's been a while since I've tasted it. And man, is this a good vintage from them. Not something I didn't expect from them, but you know, it's always nice to be even more pleasantly surprised than you expected. Again, that is the Jolie-Laide Trousseau Gris, number 2 on the flight this week. I know if you're watching this on Tuesday and you're like, it's a little cold for 2 whites, just wait till like tomorrow and Thursday and Friday when it's like mid-70s and you're like, oh, I get it, 2 whites. Okay, on it. Great. All right, last but not least, the wonderfully fantastic Michael Cruse with his Cruse Wine Company Monkey Jacket. I mean, is there a better red blend on the market with a better label? I'm not real sure. I know I'm biased, but the label is excellent. The wine is really, really good. Like I mentioned a little bit earlier, this is primarily Valdegui, which is kind of a grape variety that Michael Cruse has really become. I mean, that's really the grape that kind of put him on the map in the grand scheme of things. I mean, he was really early on became highly regarded for his sparkling wine production under the Ultramarine, and then he makes really amazing sparkling wine, pet nat and traditional method under Cruse Wine Company. But as far as like red wines go, Valdegui has kind of been his claim to fame, and the Monkey Jacket is always at least 60 to 70% Valdegui with a handful of other grapes depending on the vintage. It can vary from Syrah to Tannat to Pinot Noir to Tempranillo to Petit Syrah to Gamay. I mean, you name it. If he has access to it and it makes the wine delicious, then he's going to use it. You know, it's not like he doesn't do it without intention, but he's not opposed to adding things in that maybe have never been there before. That's really what I was getting at. On the nose, this wine always reminds me of a really great Côte d'Aron, like in the lighter style. Not a big unctuous Côte d'Aron that's maybe a little more extracted, but something that it leans heavy on Grenache, maybe is more concrete fermented, that has like a vibrancy and a little more floral uptick and less of that like roasted kind of cooked fruit characteristic that you can sometimes get in Coterones. Really pretty herbaceousness, and wow, this is so pretty. There's like a kind of bitter green, like arugula character that I'm really loving. I hope that doesn't sound negative. It's not meant to be negative. It's a very pleasing note. And I mean, just look at that color. Sorry. I put the glass in your face and then I just sat here like drinking the wine. Such a gorgeous kind of like slightly purple, violet hued ruby. Mouthfeel is clean and fresh. I like this with a little bit of chill. And as, you know, Michael would say, this is the wine for smash burgers, for pizza. You know, get those things that just make you happy when you're eating them and have this wine, which there is a whole slew of here at Second Glass. So come in, have this amazing West Coast flight to kick off the first week of spring and enjoy yourselves. Because you know what? What else do you have to do? Enjoying yourselves is the point. So again, quick wrap up. This week's flight, Lieu, Chenin Blanc, Saint-Yanez, rolling into Jolie-Laide, Trousseau, Gris, and rounding it out on a high note for sure, the Cruse Wine Co. Monkey Jackets. Great, great stuff. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for supporting small business, coming out, having delicious food, having great flights, sharing with your friends and loved ones. And I'll see you guys next week.